Hey everybody, Thomas here, and we're out here with Mr. Robert again, and if you look at the table here, you'll see two Catclaw sharpeners. This is Mr. Robert's original one. When did you buy this one?
96.
Was it new or used?
It was used.
It was used.
I bought it used. Well, let me rephrase that. I bought my Sawmill in 96. And I did send some blades back to Indiana to
Wood-Mizer, right?
Yeah, Wood-Mizer. I sent my blades back to Wood-Mizer to have them sharpened. Well, the shipping cost more than the sharpening did, so I acquired a setter and a sharpener at a local pallet mill over here. I cut some cants for them, and when I delivered the cants, I saw this sharpener and a setter, a single tooth setter sitting over there on the floor. And I asked them about it, and they said, yeah, we got that, we just don't have time to use it. And if you want it, you can have it reasonable. So I bought it from them. So I bought this probably in 97.
Okay.
And it was used. Now, how old it was before that, I don't really know. I have in the years past, you know, since I owned it, I did, the motor burn up, I did put another motor on it. It's the same RPM, same horsepower, and all as the motor that was on it. So that works out okay. What happened to this, a few years ago when I sold my Sawmill, the gentleman that bought it, he wanted my sharpener and my setter. So I sold it to him. Well, I bought this new sharpener and that dual tooth setter and went into the blade sharpening business. Well, not long after he had purchased my Sawmill and my sharpener and setter, he started bringing me his blades to set and sharpen. So I did this for a couple of years, and then I said, then my son started helping me, and I said, you know, it'd be nice if we had another sharpener. So I asked the guy one day, I said, look, what's the chances of me getting that sharpener and setter back from you since I sharpened and set your blades? He said, yeah, you can have it for the same price I paid for it. He said, I probably sharpened 25 blades with it. I don't think he ever set any, he just sharpened. So I bought it back, and I've done a little modification to it. I had to tighten up the housing up on the motor. And
of course, this right here is a must-have.
Yeah, that's just a 3-inch end cap, PVC end cap with a sponge in it, and I put oil and WD-40 in it.
And oil. Yep.
And whenever the blade passes through here, it lubricates the blade, helps it slide easier through the block, and puts some preservative on your blades so they don't rust in between the times that you're using them. It really helps. Another thing that I did on this original machine, these pins were in here where these roller bearings are, and you can see over a period of time with that blade sliding through there.
That just shows you how many blades he has sharpened.
It wears into these pins. So I called Cooks and ordered me a set of roller bearings to go in here, one here, one here. It works out better. That's what's on the newer machines. So I updated this machine to that, and works out great. This has a little different bearing setup for my mandrel for my rock, but it works great. No problem there.
The newer one there's two pillow block bearings here with grease fittings, and that's something we're going to talk about. If you have the newer style Catclaw sharpener, you have to grease those fittings. If you don't, you will start running into issues on that shaft.
Thomas is right. I actually like this better.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just listen to this. Listen to this.
That's pretty nice.
All right, now listen to this.
Yes, there is a definite difference in noise.
Right.
And what we're talking about are these two little caps right here. You take these, here, you want to bring it down?
Yeah, we'll bring it down.
You get these two little caps.
Take these caps off, and there are two grease fittings right in there.
Your Zerk fittings, and I can't really see it in there, but anyways, your Zerk fittings are way down in there, about down to your second knuckle. And then he gets a little grease gun.
Your best friend. Your best friend. I always take my finger and clean the end of that zerk fitting off.
That's exactly right. That's something I always do as well. You don't, if you're not cleaning that off, you're pushing that gunk in there.
That's exactly
and then
right.
you're going to wear out that bearing.
I just put this down on there, put a couple of pumps in it, put it over here. I do that every week.
Yep.
Every week I do that.
And we've actually talked to people who have had issues with that and have issues with the pillow block bearings going out or the shaft wearing in or all sorts of stuff.
There was a gentleman came down here from Georgia. I won't call his name, but he's become a good friend.
Good individual.
Good individual.
Him and his wife came down. It was really cool to meet him.
Stayed all weekend with me, and I showed he had this machine and that setter, and I showed him what I knew about setting and sharpening blades. However, his machine is a lot newer than mine, and when we turned it on, I said, "My gosh, what is that racket?" And it was these bearings in here, and I got the grease gun out, was going to grease them. I said, "When's the last time you greased them?" He said, I didn't know you're supposed to grease them. I've never greased them. And if you take this plate off, and you couldn't hardly lay your finger in there on them, they were so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Grease and oil and air in this business is your best friend, because it creates a lot of powdery type metal. You want that blowed out of here. Keep your machines clean. It looks dirty, but actually most of it's blown out of here.
Which leads us to our next point about rocks you should and should not use, or if you do use.
Let me talk a little bit more about this.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
I have sharpened. Back up, Thomas. We're gonna look right
The
here.
count, which is
We're gonna
quite
count
high
right here.
for this year.
This
This is how he keeps track of roughly the number.
This is zip ties. I went and bought 22 packs of them. That's 2,200 of these.
Mm-hmm.
They were Harbor Freight had them on sale for 89 cents a pack.
The 2021.
This is 2021.
And again, he took a good section off because of his shoulder surgery, and he got sick.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about that here in a second.
There's 2,100 of those that I did last year, and about 4 months last year I couldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is how many I've done this year. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there's 2,000 right there, and that many gone out of this package right here. It's about half gone.
Yeah. So he's done over 2,000 just for the year 2022.
Every blade that I sharpen, I put a zip tie on it. I keep up with how many blades I do by how many empty bags I have. And I want to show you this down here on this machine. All right, on this machine, this is a great machine. It does a good job. It's consistent. It will just do the same thing over and over and over and over again. When you get your rock ground right, you get the right cam on here for your tooth profile, it will do you a good job. However, here a while back, I was experiencing something. I was sitting over there after I got it to go, and I was sitting over there, and I said, "My God, that was a heavy grind. What happened?" Well, I got to looking, and it was digging way down in here, way down in the gullet. So I stopped the machine, and I looked, and I readjusted this. So when I readjusted this, I raised it up, and I readjusted my height, my depth gauge. That's what you adjust the height with, is this right here. I got it up there. When I started, it dropped down. It just dropped down. I said, "Wow, there's something wrong here." Well, this fine thread, I got to looking at this, and these threads went through this block right here, screws in here. This screws in here. Well, up here where it rides most of the time, it had wore to where when it would pick up in the pressure, it would just drop down. It would drop down about 1/8 of an inch. So I changed out this rod. I called Cooks, and they sent me a new rod. And in the meantime, this little push pin in your forks here, I changed them out because it was nearly broken. I have a new. They sent me a couple, so I have a new one here.
Yep.
So you want to keep a couple of those on hand. Well, I fixed that.
Again, that's the push pin, which is right here. It's this pin right here, and over time it will wear out because it's pushing quite a bit. And when you push 2,000 plus blades, look at that. That is like almost cut in half.
This was the original. You can see how flat it's getting here.
Yep.
It's wore real bad here, and it's wore bad right here, nearly in two.
Yep.
So I ordered a couple of new ones. Takes you about 2 minutes to change it.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. But I changed this threaded rod because it was slipping.
Mm-hmm.
I put a new pin in there. Well, that worked for about a month. Then it started doing it again. I said, that rod cannot be wore out that quick. Well, the threads inside this block, which goes right here,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. These threads will wore out.
Exactly.
So I went out there and found me a grade 5 bolt, and I cut it off, and I drilled a hole and tapped it, drilled a hole in it.
He machined his own little piece.
Yeah.
He's a machinist mate who actually did something.
Yeah, I'm a machinist by trade, so I don't have any machine. I don't have a lathe or a milling machine or anything like that. I just do it. So,
He's good, folks.
So anyway, if you're experiencing problems slipping or this dropping down, you want to check this right here.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't really know what it was until I got deep into it. Then I said, well, there's my problem right there.
And a lot of people are probably saying, like, man, his machine looks different. Mr. Robert takes off the safety plate here because he's a man.
That's garbage.
I'm just kidding. No, he takes it off because he goes to these grinding wheels very often, and it's just a pain to have to take off those 3 bolts and everything. As you can see, he's got a stack of them up here.
Here,
Yep.
here.
And you said how many sharpenings per stone?
It's 60 to 80.
But you're a little bit on the low end because you're sharpening so many different types of blades, and every time you've got to use this right here, your shaping stone, and you shape to the actual blade itself.
Here's one wore out.
Yeah, that's the finger grabber.
If you're sharpening, if you buy one of these and you're sharpening for yourself, you're probably going to sharpen the same tooth profile blade all the time. That's a dream. I mean, that's just easy to do. But I get these 747, Ripper 37s, Cook's blades. I get all different,
Mumford saw,
every kind of blade that's out there.
Yeah.
Well, I got all these cams. See, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I gave him a couple
7,
of those.
8, 9. Yep, Thomas
And
gave me some.
and you can tell just by looking at the blade, essentially which cam you have to run. And you had one made. Was that one up there?
This one here, I ordered it. Somebody brought me some blades that were 1-inch tooth spacing. So
what a pain.
So I ordered, yeah.
It's John B.
So I ordered this cam from a company in New York.
Yep.
Wolf.
Let's see if we can see that on there. Does it say on
Suffolk Machinery Corporation.
Yeah, Suffolk Machinery. And I'll put that information down below and with the number as well.
Now, I'll tell you about Suffolk Machinery. They sell this cam that will fit that Catclaw sharpener, but they only sell the cam that fits the profile of the blades that they sell. Now, all these others come from Cook. Now, you tell them what profile blades you're running, and they'll grind you the cam to fit that blade.
Can you send them a blade sample?
You can. You can send them a blade sample, and they will do that. But however, let me tell you something. I have found out that even though you've got a cam that'll fit that blade, you've got to grind that rock to fit that profile of that tooth on that blade.
Exactly.
It don't just happen. You've got to learn how to grind that rock. But anyway, I paid $49 for this cam from Suffolk Machinery, and I sharpened the 3 blades for the guy, so I made $27.
So, but he has it. He's adding more to his capability.
That's right.
So if anyone has a goofy 1-inch tooth spacing blade, Mr. Robert, because he does 1-inch, 7/8, 3/4, half, and half-inch. Yeah.
And that's a 1-inch, half-inch, and 3/4. The rest of these, and on these 2 machines, are 7/8.
7/8 is your most common.
That gives you. That's the best tooth spacing for cutting rough cut lumber on a bandsaw sawmill.
Yep.
If you got a resaw, you might want to drop down to 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you a little bit better cut. You cut a little slower, but it gives you a good cut. I wanted to go over that. you want to keep all this lubricated. When you screw these out, lubricate that good. Inside here, that will egg shape if you don't keep it lubricated.
Correct.
I had to replace that bushing in there. And these are those bearings that I told you I replaced over there on that other machine. So that's a little bit about the and I added the light where I could see my eyes. First thing I do in the morning before I go in there and grab myself is I put my glasses on so I can find it. But anyway, the light helps me.
Yep.
And I have another one of these caps with the sponge and the oil and the.
And that's just another thing that he does. Now, also, hopefully, I'll put in some pictures of this. Mr. Robert recently just bought my old 1220 Sawmill that we added the diesel to and everything, and he's been thinking about getting a Sawmill. And when people ask him what blades do you run, well, he used to run, Meisenheimer blades way back when, but he sold his Sawmill a few years back. So now he can say, okay, he has another Sawmill, and he can test out blades and everything and see what he likes. Because customers like to hear, hey, what does my sharpener run? This man knows his stuff. What does he run? So he got the 1220 mil. He's got some tinkering he's going to do with it. And where the heck was I going with that? Oh, you're going to...
Yeah, I intend. I'm going to buy 5 blades from Joe Main, 5 from Robert at Kennesaw.
Jerry.
5 from Jerry, and 5 from up here at the SE Metals. And wherever I hear of a good blade, when I hear of a good blade, I will
try it out and see how she sharpens.
I'm not one to buy the most expensive blades. I know that Wolf blade up there in New York, it's a Swedish steel blade they sell. They're proud of those blades. Thomas has acquired and used a couple of carbide tip blades.
We're proud of those, but they do serve a purpose. They are expensive, but again, I've got 2 of them I keep on hand for special projects only.
$80 to $150 a piece, depending on the length of your blade.
Yep.
And it would just bother me really bad to put a $100 blade on a sawmill and go in there and hit a big bolt or something, and there's $100 gone.
It's true. That's true. But I will say this, though. The first time we ran it, we cut through 6 nails and had no idea. And then ran it for another, 1,600 board foot between sharpenings. But again, Mr. Robert, he wants to be able to tell his customers, hey, here's what kind of blade I run, and have experience with it. He really understands his equipment. He takes pride in the way he sharpens. And he always tells his customers, he's like, if you have any feedback, please let him know.
Good or bad.
Exactly, good or bad. Now, we do have to talk about how you got sick last year.
Okay.
And which blades or which stones to get. So we need to see the differences in stones.
On a previous video that we did here on this machine, we installed this rock.
This is the red rock that you can get. Who did you get this one from?
I get Timberwolf. It's a Timberwolf.
Okay.
And this is a Norton. These rocks are aluminum oxide. These blue rocks are ceramic rocks. Now, let me tell you a little bit about these 2 blue rocks right here. That is a brand new rock. That is a brand new rock. This is a light blue, a dark blue. Same grit. This rock is soft. I do not recommend you buying that rock. If you call Cooks, you tell them you want that dark blue ceramic grinding rock, because this rock will lose its profile. If you have a real long blade, it will get smaller and not give you the same profile, the complete distance of circumference around your blade.
Yep.
So go with a harder rock. It gives you a better finish and it lasts longer.
And what do those rocks cost?
And when I bought this machine, that rock was $14. And in about 8 months, it went to $17. A year later, it went to $21. And I just bought these 4 rocks here. Well, I got 2 of them on these machines. They're $24.70 a piece.
And they only do 60 to 80 sharpening.
Yep.
So that's something you got to think into in your overhead costs and everything, is the cost of materials. But we're going to talk about these aluminum oxide rocks and why it's important that you either wear a mask or blow everything away.
This aluminum oxide rock, I put it on there, and it cut really good.
Mm-hmm. I can testify that it cut great. In fact, we might have had it on in the first video we did.
We put this rock on there and shaped it and started sharpening blades with it.
Yep.
On that first video.
Mm-hmm.
And I used it a long time. Well, I built this room, my soft sharpening room, and it's tight. It's really tight. It's foam sealed, insulated. I have air conditioner in here, and it's cool and comfortable. Well, after running this rock for a while, I began to, everything I ate was salty tasting. I said, honey, you put too much salt on there. She said, I didn't salt it at all. Anything I eat or drink was salty. And if you've ever worked around metal where you've had to sand metal or grind metal, you get that metallic taste in your mouth. Everything, all day, all night, all day, I could brush my teeth, use mouthwash. Everything had 24 hours a day, I had this metallic taste in my mouth. I began to lose weight. I had no appetite. I didn't want anything.
You had no energy, really.
None, no energy
you were
at
like
all.
down for a while.
So I told my wife, I says, you know, I think that grinding rock out there in that room has affected me. So I go to my doctor and I tell him what I'm doing. He and I are really good friends. I talk to him like he's one of my sons, and I've been going to him for years. But anyway, I told him what I was doing. And I said, it's aluminum oxide rock that I'm using. Well, they did a bunch of blood tests on me and this and that and the other. Well, the next day he called me. And he said, Robert, you ain't out there in that room sharpening, are you? I said, no, I don't feel like sharpening today. He said, well, your blood test came back, and your body, right at this present time, you have an excessive amount of arsenic poisoning in your body. And he said, I have done some research on that rock and grinding those blades, and he said, that's where it's coming from. He said, do not go back in that room for a month and quit using that rock. Well, and he said, go buy you a mask. So I went and bought a real nice respirator that has these super fine micron filters on them. And whenever I turn my air on, I wear these masks in here. My son and I both wear these masks.
And he also got this air purifier system up here too, this wind system, and runs that when he's sharpening, because I
paid $400 for that air system. I turn it on, I run it. I had a Delta dust collecting system in here. I ran it for a while. I cleaned this room out. I blew this room out, all the dust out of here. We wiped the walls down, my wife and I did. I'm telling you that and warning you, do not use this red rock in a tight, enclosed area. If you're outside in your barn or where the wind just blows, I think you'll be okay. I called the people who made this rock and talked to them about it, and they said, well, we've been selling that for 20 years. And he said, that's the first time we've ever got any feedback like that. I'm just saying, it made me sick.
Yep.
And
it's probably a combination of the rock and the metal and everything else, but yeah.
It may not make anybody else sick, but it did me, and I just wanted to like to call.
And I can testify he was sick. We didn't know what was wrong with him for a while.
I won't run one of them. I wouldn't even run one of these outside.
Yep.
But I hope this has been a little helpful. I'm running these two machines now. I set this machine up, I get it to go, and I run it. I go over here and I set this machine up and I start running it. By the time this one finishes, I put the blade up, put a new one on there. About that time that one's finished, so it speeds my process up.
So really there was a question asked the other day: how many blades can you, if either you by yourself or you and your son in here, how many blades can you set and sharpen in an hour?
Well, I did. That's 10, and those are big blades right over there. I did for a friend this morning, and I probably did those. And how many can I do in an hour?
It depends.
Probably 20 or 22 blades an hour.
If you're running two sharpeners at one?
Running both sharpeners,
yep.
Yeah.
And if you're only running one, you're about 10.
Yeah.
About half of that. Because this is awesome, because while he's running these sharpeners here, his son is sitting over there. And it's turned into quite the operation. And this is also I'm opening the floodgates, Mr. Robert. But,
Open them up.
yeah, so there for a while when he was getting sick and he had his shoulder surgery, this, that, and the other, he didn't really want to take on a whole lot of new jobs. But now we're at the point now where he can take on a few more.
Yeah.
And Mr. Jack, one of our good buddies down here and everything, I told him we had my little going away party. I said, Jack, come on over, bring your appetite and bring your blades. He probably brought 60 or 70 blades.
60 or 70 blades.
And those are the same blades as my mill. It's a Timber King 2000. Those are big blades.
They're big blades.
And in
But
fact,
his blades is in good shape.
yes, he does take care of them.
Makes a difference. All you people out there that are sawing, take care of your blades.
Yes.
I mean, it may be a time when you not being able to go down and buy these. You know, there for a while we couldn't buy toilet paper, and who'd ever thought that? Who'd have thunk it?
Yep.
But and some of these manufacturers, people who make these blades,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the people who put the blades together. There's just a few companies out there who actually buy the band of steel, stamp the tooth profile in there, and make the blades. Like Joe Main and some of these other companies, they buy stock from these people, and
Yep.
then they buy it like a 500 or 1,000 foot roll, and they make the blades, and they do a good job. And by doing that, you can buy a blade. You can buy a blade from someone who makes the blade. Not actually physically makes it, but cuts it off and welds it together.
Yep.
I would say $8 to $10 cheaper than you can buy it from.
A main manufacturer, like a Wood Miser or
That's
Timber
right,
King or something like
that's
that.
right.
Exactly. So we'll put some of that information in the comment or the description below.
Right.
Who we can get blades from, and we did that in a previous video where we were talking about blade shortage and stuff like that, and a lot of people said thank you for that. So anything we can do to get the information out there and help people network and just growing that network of sawyers and people who sharpen blades, because that is a relationship that has to be there if we're going to keep this alive.
Yep.
Now the other thing we were talking about, this is what I think I lost my train of thought on, rust. When you get nasty rusty blades, Mr. Robert has a big vat of like 5 gallons of vinegar, and what he does is he'll drop, and I'll show some pictures. So I'm going to pause right now. I'll put those pictures in there that show what it looks like when the rust comes off. It is filthy.
You took a picture of that.
I took a picture of that thing growing in there. So the other day, his son, which is absolutely hilarious, he opened that thing up and about crapped himself.
And it looked like a big boa constrictor.
Yeah, he thought an anaconda was going to bite him. He opened that. It grew. All that rust came to the surface, and he lets it sit in there for about a day.
Yeah,
all that
okay.
rust comes to the surface and everything, and then they pull out the blades, and they got to neutralize it. So they spray it down with water, get all that vinegar and stuff off it. Then they go through and do the cleaning process on the wheel. They come in and set it. A blade, he's had blades come in here rustier than rust.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, just
Yeah.
they are orange and they are caking rust and everything.
Yeah.
And when they leave here, they're maybe not as shiny as some of these blades here, but they're like a blackish shine color to it. So
The process that I do when a blade comes in here, if it's really rusty, I put it in this solution for minimum of 4 hours. Sometimes I leave it in there overnight. I may come out here early and put some in there and take them out about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's sufficient. That does a good job. Overnight does a better job, but 4 or 5 hours is sufficient. Then it's vinegar. It's nothing but just white distilled vinegar that I buy at Dollar General for a couple of dollars a bottle. And it's nothing but a mild acid solution is all
and
it is.
it does take away some of the material, but there's a lot of material left still in the blade and everything. But really, you should never get to that point where your blades look like that.
Yeah.
That's he can bring a blade back, but again, you've taken off the life off that blade by treating it that way.
Yeah.
So
And then what you want to do when you take it out of there is immediately go out there. I have a piece of plywood out behind my barn, and I lay it there and I wash it off and clean it real good and neutralize that acid with water.
Yep.
And then whenever I run it through here, we clean it with my wire brush, and then when it comes through here, we put oil on the blade.
Putting the oil back on there. That's also why if you have a setter and sharpener, this is a really good idea to have, because again, it neutralizes and it stops any kind of flash rust that's going to occur on your blade, and it just, the customer is getting a better quality blade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again,
We'll show you, we'll walk out here and show you that solution and some blades hanging up here that we just cleaned this morning.
yeah, okay. So here we go. We're going to head out there. Okay folks, so this right here, this is not as rusty as he's seen, but this is a rusty blade. So to give you an idea, the blades that he got for the mill just from me the other day, these were blades that just sat out there forever. Were rustier than this. This is pretty rusty and everything, but not too bad. That can be cleaned up. So that was then thrown into this solution right here, and this, I'll show you kind of the foam that comes to the surface. There's still a little bit in here. This is his vinegar solution. It's kind of scary, but it will grow all that rust off of there, and it looks wild. So he lets it soak in there for a while. He removes it with a what do you call it, a tool, I'm drawing a blank right now, a pry bar kind of thing, and this is what they look like afterwards. These blades right here were rustier than what I just showed you, and then he runs them through his cleaner, the steel wheel there and everything, and it cleans it up. So this was rustier than what we saw before, and you can see they're not quite super shiny, but they're not bad. I mean, he did a good job at cleaning these up, and that rust solution it does a fine job. Oh, that vinegar solution, excuse me. Well, hope you found this video interesting. We have got a few last bit of things I have to carry up to Tennessee right there, but this is like our last full day here before we go up to Tennessee. This is the wheel right here where he sharpens. But I will say it's been an absolute pleasure working and playing around with Mr. Robert here at his shop. I'm really gonna miss this place. And yeah, but anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know in the comments below. I'm still gonna keep in contact with Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert is a fantastic friend and like a second father figure to me. Him and his wife are just phenomenal. Could not be happier having met them and just known them. But if you have questions, we're gonna put some stuff in below. We're gonna put about the different blade manufacturers. We're gonna reference to other videos that we've done, our actual sharpening and setting video that we put out there. And if you have issues and any kind of concerns about your equipment that you have, Mr. Robert does help people out. So we'll put his contact information below. And if you are looking for someone to sharpen blades, he can sharpen blades for you as well. He's in southern Mississippi. He does have people ship them here, but shipping is quite expensive. So, you know, he can also help maybe get you in contact with another sharpener in your area. So take it with a grain of salt. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you around. Thanks.